Let's stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Swab,
Here.
Mrs. Brewer,
Here.
Mr. Biesecker,
Here.
Mr. Manuel,
Here.
Mrs. Hill.
Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening, and the meeting is also broadcast online as well as in person. Next item is reviewing and approving the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? If none, could I have a motion to approve the printed agenda? Thanks, Maria.
Second.
Thanks. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call for approving the agenda.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next item is approving our March 21st meeting minutes. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thanks, Trey. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, questions regarding the minutes that we had a chance to review ahead of time? Hearing none, motion or roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next, I'd like to turn the meeting over to our administrative team for our student spotlights.
So for student spotlights tonight, we're in the elementary, we're recognizing fifth grade. So Mrs. Engel was able to be here, probably her last school board meeting. So I figured this would be the perfect opportunity for her to recognize her students.
Unless I can get there, because I forgot my glasses. Kayla, you want to come up here first? Hello. So I nominated Kayla Clark. She's an outstanding student. Every single day has a smile, is very friendly. You guys can read all that. I love her because she always has something to add to the class, whether it's academically or if she sees somebody that doesn't quite get something, she's right away, she knows how to help them and teach them in a way that adults can't. So she's very good at helping other students. She has all kinds of animals at home, and she recently almost had to give CPR to a fish. So I think she was stopped before she could try it, but she's very caring and very considerate, and we're very glad she's here. She's an outstanding asset to Bradford schools.
And then Mr. Sweeterman recognized Colby Hansen, and Engel will read his citation.
Colby, you're dressed so much better than I did. So Colby, let's see what he said about you. Well, I can say the same thing. So Colby he's very caring also. I especially love to see him at recess playing like football. He's very competitive. He's going to be great on our team in the future. I watched a basketball game. He's very competitive there. He's all over the floor. Academically, he tries his hardest all the time. I never have to worry about him only giving me, he gives me everything he has, and he works really hard. So we're all very proud of him, and he's an asset to Bradford schools.
And for the junior high school, first off, nominated by Mr. Snyder was Alexis Bergen. So Alexis, come on. So this is what Mr. Snyder had to say. I'd like to have Alexis Brogan recognized as my student to be recognized this month by the Board of Education. Alexis is a great asset and a representative of Bradford schools and the ideal high school student. She's always kind, responsible, and respectful. I observed Alexis doing the right thing when no one is looking, having very admirable integrity. She is a quiet leader in our district and always comes in with a positive attitude. Alexis is a joy to be around and a pleasure to have in class. Great job, Alexis, and congratulations. And then our last student to be recognized tonight was Bailey Smith, who was nominated by Mrs. Timmerman. Here. This is what Mrs. Timmerman had to say about Bailey. I'm nominating Bailey Smith for Bradford Board of Education Student Spotlight. Bailey is a 7th grade student and is the daughter of Afton Reed. I've had the privilege of having Bailey in class for the past 2 years. Last year, Bailey struggled with all her academic classes and was very quiet. However, this year, Bailey has improved tremendously academically. Bailey is passing her classes and she's participating in class by answering questions, taking notes, and turning in her assignments. Her work ethic has blossomed. Bailey has opened up and has shown her true personality. I really enjoy my time with her in class and look forward to continuing to see her grow both academically and socially. Great job, Bailey, and congratulations.
So, I guess, Chris, you could, if you would let the students go before or after you guys do your presentation.
Yeah,
whatever
you guys can
with.
stay if you'd like to, or you guys can head on out.
picture if I could.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. And while you do that, I will introduce someone. So before Michelle and I do our board reports, I do have somebody that you're going to vote on here in a little bit. Her name's Connor Reed. She is hasn't quite graduated yet from Wright State, but she is going to. I recommend her to be hired this evening for our open ELA and math position. Through interviews, she did rise to the top. Had amazing recommendations. One of them from a former teacher of mine from a different district that's now an adjunct professor at Wright State that just couldn't say enough good things about her. So we're really looking forward to her. She is from Versailles, so we got to get past that a little bit. But we're really happy to bring her on board, and she's going to be a real nice asset for us. So,
Welcome. Thank
For
you.
the district.
and we can skip over Michelle's stuff and I can go first. Okay.
No, go ahead. You already got
You
your
sure?
name.
All right.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Start here. All right, so we'll start out with the junior high dance. This is the second year that I've been a part of the junior high dance, and Mr. Daugherty has been so gracious to attend this with the kids, and they enjoy it tremendously. They look forward to it every single year. We almost get more junior high kids coming to the dance than we do high school kids. So they really enjoy, and they actually dance and have fun, and you know, it's a good thing for them. So the PTO puts this on for them, so thank you for them for doing that for the kids. And it's just one of those neat things, one of the many neat things that Bradford does. We are having our play this weekend. It will be Clue. I don't know if you've seen the movie or the game. I've played the game. I've never really seen the movie, so I'm really looking forward to this production. Mr. Cannon and Mrs. Meyer have worked very, very hard along with the staff and the cast and everyone to put this together. We started testing this week, and I asked Mrs. Myring, you know, how everything was going, and she told me she felt like she was drowning because she just is so nervous about this production. But they're going to do a great job. They did a great job last year, and I have no doubt they will again this year. So really looking forward to that. If you can have time to come out to support them, that'd be great. It's $7 at the door. There is no pre-sale tickets, and it's going to be a good thing. We had Ag Day last week. That's where all of our FFA members put together different activities for our elementary students throughout the course of the day, and they do such a great job. And Megan has done an amazing job in her first year here. Things went very smoothly. We had amazing weather, lots of animals. The kids did a lot of projects. I was there for a soil demonstration using different candies, which I enjoyed a lot, and I learned a lot about the different soil compositions. And really, our kids run the whole thing. They set the whole thing up. They run the whole thing. She just kind of acts as a facilitator throughout it all. So our kids are leading this entire thing, which, they're learning skills that they will be able to take with them for the rest of their life. So it's really, I couldn't be more impressed with what they're able to do. And then how well the elementary students respond to it and how much they really enjoy it as well. I forgot to do this one last week, our last board member, but Sarah Beckstead, Mrs. Moore's class had kids. You want to talk about it a little bit? You want me to? I can. It's okay, Sharon. I won't put you on your spot in one of your last board meetings. So Miami County offers a billboard contest each year, and they have different themes. And this year's theme was recycling. And kids from all over the place can basically enter into this. And there were over 60 submissions, and Sarah Beckstead won. So she will actually have her billboard, which is on the left-hand side here, on a billboard in Miami County. It'll be near Joe Johnson on 25A, heading out towards Tip City soon, actually. So, Sarah did an amazing job. There she is getting presented with the award, and I believe, what they were, like $250.
She didn't do anything like that. She had a bag.
Oh, a bag full of goodies. So, Mr. Hurst is there, sucking it in, trying to look good.
Doing my best.
Sorry, Jim.
You're all right.
So lots of different events coming up. Like I said earlier, Clue presented by the Drama Club. That's this weekend. Both nights will be 7 o'clock. We have a mock accident kind of leading up to our prom that will happen next Saturday. But before that, there's athletic booster meeting next Wednesday, PTO meeting the following Wednesday on the 3rd. Then we have the Dark County Special Olympics, which is a lot of fun for our students. On the 12th, we're finally going to end state testing on the 12th as well. That'll be done we will be completed, I believe, elementary and high school will both be finished at that time. Next board meeting is the 16th, and then I kind of put the other ones down there because that last week and a half, we have a lot of things going on. We have the PTO honors banquet, we have the senior breakfast on the 19th, last day of school is the 25th, and then graduation. And I was just telling Trey at the baseball game here soon, I can't believe how fast the school years go, and how I think we only have about 25, 26 days of school left. So it's been a great year. Kids have done very well thus far, and hope to continue for the remainder of the school year.
Do you want me to go back to the first slide?
Yes, please. I just kind of spotlighted some things, but we're very busy at the elementary right now, and end of the year activities, getting to go places that a lot of students don't get to go visit. The first field trip we've had for the spring was the 5th grade went to the Neil Armstrong Museum, and it was kind of funny because Mrs. Angle is the one who's always gotten all the field trips together and made sure that they go. And this year she says, "This is my last year, Mr. Schwieterman. You're going to now take over and you're going to plan the whole field trip and get the money and make sure everything was in place." Mr. Schwieterman stepped up, did a great job, and he actually even drove the bus to the Neil Armstrong Museum. And the kids, many of them, I have never been to the Neil Armstrong Museum. They all got to tour, a guided tour, and then they got to do a STEM activity, which were rockets. It was a great trip for them. And like I said, I don't know that many of them, the kids had ever been there before, so it's nice. We had a family night, and it was Be Your Own Star, and we had people coming from the community. We had Stacy Lehman coming from the library. We had Stephanie from the Park District. They came in to kind of tell the people what are available during the summertime for them to get involved in, as well as they found where they lived in comparison to where the library is and where the Stillwater Prairie is. So they put stars on maps to show these are the spotlighted stars in town. We also had a photo booth. They got to do rockets like they did another place. And I really want to say something about Kayla. Kayla actually during the rocket time was actually making animals, balloon animals, because that's a talent that Kayla Clark also has, that she knows how to make balloon animals. So when you look at this picture right here, she was helping kids make balloon animals because the student council also helped make sure that parents and the students got to move around. And we had a special guest star Galileo himself came back from time and showed the students different types of telescopes, how you use a telescope, and we even had the lights above. And Galileo's Italian accent was amazing. So to see Galileo in action, anytime you're interested, he can make a quick stop maybe next time at the next board meeting, so you all can meet Galileo in person. And also we gave away a $50 Amazon card, and Hunter Gilbert was the winner of that Amazon card. So like I said, it was a great time, it was laid back, but everybody got to see how they can be someone's star or a star in their life. We also had the father-daughter dance, that was also held by the PTO. It was amazing, the amount of dads that come out and do that, and they're not comfortable when the DJ says, okay, it's time, guys, we're gonna get the dance off between the dads and the daughters. And so you have them out there doing dance offs. I had a video clip that I put on Dojo, so the moms could see the dads out there dancing against the girls that was slow dancing. We had a huge turnout, so if you like to look at pictures, Dojo's there, as well as Mrs. Moore had her class there that took pictures of all of the dads with their daughters, and they dress up like they are going to prom. Some of those outfits those girls wear, woo, I don't know how much they're paying for those, but they do actually look like prom dresses. And then some of them, I don't know if I have one, had lights even intertwined underneath their dresses because it was a glow party. The Rotary Reader Club for grades 3 through 5, they have to earn so many AR points and meet their reading goals for grades 3 through 5, and then they got to go to Scene 75. This too was brought to them by the PTO. So teachers go with them. They went to Scene 75. They got to eat pizza there. They got to play games. I had a picture as well of a student that was where they got to do the bumper cars. Many of them had been to Scene 75. I can't say that they hadn't got to visit there, but they all had a good time and they represented Bradford well. And then I have at the end all of the things that we still have going on. We have state testing, ours ends May 9th. Then the Rotary Reader Club is April 21st for the little grades BG through 2. Miami County the Earth Festival is taking place April 25th, grades BG through 2 go. They learn a song about the environment, and then they get to perform it. And then there's different booths that are set up. And we get a grant to get to go over there, which pays for everything through the Miami County Park District. So we really appreciate them. It's been an awesome experience for many, and they rock well. So even if you're interested in taking family members, it's available that the 20, I can't recall if it's the 20, it's right at the end of the weekend. So it's when this is over with, right at that Saturday. Soaring Summer Reading Program is something they're having down at the public library. That at the kickoff is April 26th. We try to publicize that because we tie in our summer school with the summer reading program so that we do the reading program. They walk down, they can eat at the community club where we have a summer lunch program that's provided by Dottie Clark and a group of members, not Dottie Clark, but Dottie Carter and a group of members there. And it's just, they have great food. I mean, home cooked food. So it's not like you're just going to go get a bologna sandwich. That's also available during that summer reading program, but the kickoff for that is on April 26th. There's going to be food trucks there. I'm all about food. Miami County Hug the Earth Festival is April 28th for grade 3 because they're going on Friday because of testing. One grade will go at Charleston's Falls on May 2nd. Grandparents' Day is May 5th. It's Cinco de Mayo themed. We're doing it in the afternoon so that it's on a Friday that maybe a grandparent might want to take the day off and then they get to leave with their grandparent. We'll have permission slips going home about that. Garst Museum for grade 4 on the 9th, and then on the 10th, we go to Bears Mill Field Trip, which is also a free field trip through Dark County Park District. Special Olympics, like Mr. Barr says, on May 12th. Our Step Up Day is May 15th, where they get to go meet their next teacher. Family Day for our group of kids here, K through 12, BG through 12, will get together with their family groups. They'll get their tie-dye t-shirts, and they're going to play games and eat lunch together. And then Field Day is May 24th. I did leave out, I realized as he was talking about his dates, the zoo is also May 18th, and it's also the date that the 3rd grade is going to Ohio Caprins. So like you can see, tons of things are coming up. Testing is going well. I'm proud of our staff and our students. They have really come together this school year better than I've ever seen. So does anybody have any questions for Mr. Barr or I or Mr. Daughtery?
No, we still have Chloe.
No, sorry. Okay.
So Chloe couldn't be here, but she asked me to speak on her behalf. So upcoming events, I'm sure you guys know it's spring, so spring means baseball, softball, and track. So a lot going on in the next couple weeks. We have baseball, softball versus Arcanum, junior high track at Ansonia, high school track at Miami East today. The 20th, baseball, softball versus Seminole Valley. The 21st, baseball versus Northridge. High school track at Ansonia. The 22nd, junior high track at FM. Softball at Mend Logan. Baseball at Dragon Stadium versus Milton Union. The 24th, baseball versus Troy Christian. 25th, junior high track at Miami East. High school track at Versailles. Baseball, softball at Tri-Village. The 26th, junior high track at softball. And then junior high track at Troy. Softball Fairborn. The 27th, baseball, softball versus Dixie, which is our senior night. The 28th, baseball versus St. Henry. High school track at Arcanum. Softball at Minster. The 29th, baseball versus Fairlawn. And I'm really looking forward to next year when we'll have, hopefully, Bradford track at home. So those are our upcoming events. And then she also wanted me to talk about the Glow Run. This is a kind of a track equipment sponsor type thing. They're doing a 5K run on, she doesn't have the date on there, but I think it's May 20th.
Yes.
So she's a lot of things that we're going to have there. Clark's will have a pizza trailer. Kona Ice will have their saying everybody loves Kona Ice. So I'm sure that'll be popular. V's, Boba, and more. The concession stand will be open. We'll have a timed 5K. There'll be a dunk tank, glow sticks and glow paint registration. It's $25, and that includes a t-shirt and glow bands. There'll be awards in top 3 in each gender and age group, and there will also be hurdle sponsorships available. So if you're interested in doing that, check out railroadersathletics.com for the link to the registration. Anybody have any questions on that? I don't know if I can answer them, but I can try. Yeah, thank you.
I forgot one thing I wanted to mention. We had kindergarten screening. That was something that wasn't in there. This is probably the biggest turnout for our screening we've had. We have a total of 44 incoming kindergartners, and that's not counting our beginning garden kids that will be going to kindergarten. So right now our numbers are 54 that are kindergarten, beginning garden students. So it's exciting to see the number of students that are coming to Bradford. We have some open enrollment students. Like I said, it's nice to see that many. It's just like, wow. So I want to share that as well.
Thanks. Does anyone have questions for the administration team? No? Maria, do you have any update from the career center?
Nothing, sorry.
No news is good news.
Yeah.
Okay. And Joe, give
I
us
have
some superintendent report.
Yes, I have some construction reports or updates. I also would like to talk about the 5K Glow Run just a little bit more too. We are organizing a piece that will go along with this, since this is going to be an evening activity just as it gets dark, so the kids and the people can run in the dark. We talked about if everything goes as planned and we get the lights on the field and we are allowed to be around the field and those type of things, then we're going to try to do a grand reveal or open house, so to speak, for the track that evening. So I don't want to make any public announcements. But we're working. We're working on it. We're not committed to it, but we are working towards that. We did have a construction meeting today to find out some more information. In fact, I have pictures on the slideshow here. This is what the project looked like this afternoon around 3 o'clock when I snapped this off the camera. You can see the field is graded. They actually laid seed today, and just before the meeting started, Mr. Biesecker and I went out and walked the track real quick one time around the concrete pathway, and the fellow was out there overseeding and fertilizing the whole field itself. So the expectation is before Friday of this week, they'll put something called a hydro straw or hydro mulch. It's hydro straw, right?
Hydro straw.
On the entire thing to keep everything in place and keep it from blowing and keep the moisture in and that sort of thing. The irrigation guys have been here working on different things. If you look closely, this is not going to be easy to see. If you look out there, the goal posts actually have the bases put in the ground. They don't have the side pieces or the uprights yet, but those are there. The lights were being worked on today. He was hoping to test them today or tomorrow. I didn't hear from him, so I'm assuming tomorrow's the golden day for that. The bleachers are done. They haven't passed inspection yet, which is just a matter of aligning schedules. And they have one or two bolts to fix that we found on a punch list. But aside from that, the bleachers are finished. The press box, the block is up. It's been inspected. They're working on the roof now. They've got the sheeting on it. They've got the floor in it. I have pictures of these I should be showing. That's the doorway into the press box. And you can see the interior's not done yet, but it's put together. They're waiting on the windows. Those are supposed to be in, I think, next week, in which they will be able to finish probably everything up at that point. There's actually enough space there. That's probably a 5-foot walkway between the front of the press box and the back of the bleachers. So there's actually going to be enough space there that we could potentially use that as a walkway too. But you can see we've also got the walkway around the back of the press box, thinking that may be handicap accessibility there. They've got to put on this garage door and a vent above it, and the windows in the front, and flashing soffits, downspouts, those type of things. And of course, steps. So that should take care of that piece. The fence itself is done. The 4-foot fence that goes around the track itself, with the exception they've got an orange plastic cap that goes over the top of the fence itself just to protect everything and keep everything there from fraying and getting abuse from people leaning on it. The electric fence, grass, bleachers, press box, that is all of it. Scoreboard should be later this week. We should have it. We're hoping to have it installed late this week or early next week. So when they come in and put the rubber surfacing on the track, we don't have to disturb anything inside the track area. That has actually been scheduled for the middle of May, but they've moved it up to the 1st of May because the weather is getting warm enough that they think everything can happen. If it continues to get warm enough, if we had the weather from last week, this week, and next, we probably would even see it next week, but we're not betting on that. We're figuring on May 1st at this point. Play clocks are here. They will be installed probably this week is what we're expecting. There's a header that goes on top of the scoreboard that's not done fabricated yet. So it'll go on after the scoreboard gets put on, but it's roughly a 3-foot, 4-foot piece that goes on top of it with our logo and everything up there. I think that is everything for the construction, and I think that is everything for my update, except for the bus barn. We got the charger in for the buses, and tonight we've got a contract for shoreline equipment as a piece to come in and wire everything up inside the bus barn. AES Ohio has come out and put another pole out in the front, and as soon as the pad is done for the transformer, then they'll run the wire back to the transformer, and then shoreline will take it from transformer into the building and wire up that charger. So, and that being said, I think I'm done, unless you have questions.
Thanks, Joe. Any questions? Thank you very much. Carla, do you have an update for us?
Not a lot to bring to you tonight because we've been predominantly trying to work through and schedule and finalize some of the grants for this year because they are due June 30th, and we want to make sure that we can spend everything to the most efficient use that we possibly can. We'll be talking about the 5-year forecast. We've almost, as we hire positions, I utilize that actual documentation so I can project over the next few years and try to get a closer estimate on where we're going to be. My best guess with the forecast as we move forward. So we know where we're going to be in the next 5 years. It'll help us do some planning as to how quickly we move on things. I know we're working on some of the ESSER's money to see if we can implement some of that on some of the structure work on the particular project that we have now as we look forward. But other than that, everything's been pretty much normal workload, no audits this month, nothing going on that's out of the ordinary. So next month will be the forecast. We'll be talking about what some of the things that are going to be happening. And I did ask for, on this board agenda, an 035 fund. That is a fund that's used for severance payments. It allows for some planning for the future so we can utilize some funds to make sure that we adequately fund those items so we know what's disposable income for us for various projects. So with that, I conclude my report.
Thanks, Carly. Any questions? No? And next then is public participation. Did you receive any requests?
I did not.
So the next item on our agenda is the financial report for the treasurer and consent calendar items 1 through 14. Are you able to give us an overview?
Okay, as we're going through, first we have the financial journal for March 2023, the check registers, the then and now certification of bills that were obligated by employees of the district. And the list there is all inclusive for this month. We have several approval transfers and advances for the month. The 001 general fund in the amount of $11,250 is being repaid from the COPS grant because we have expended all the funds in that grant. I recommend the 001 general fund in the amount of $97,845 from $572,9223. That is the Title I grant. As of the end of March, we had expended all the money in Title I and are now supplementing all that with general fund. Recommend 001 general fund in the amount of $18,098.54 from the $590,9223 fund, and that is also an augmentation of the Title I funding. Recommend 001 general fund in the amount of $25,000 from the $599.91.23 CLSD grant. And then we have 001 general fund to 300 so we can cover the Washington DC trip, which we have a contract of almost 30,000 to cover. We're advancing 25,000 to make sure we can adequately cover the expenses for a trip that won't occur until October. Recommend approval of the permanent appropriation for necessary amendment. Recommend acceptance of a donation from Daryl and Kathy Gamble in the amount of $50 to be used for school lunches. Recommend acceptance of a donation from Shane Steiner in the amount of $100 for the Bryant Beyer Scholarship Fund. Recommend acceptance of a donation in the amount of $1,700 from the Scott and Renee Hellman for scoreboard advertising fee. Recommend acceptance of a donation in the amount of $300 from Glenn and Mary Murphy for the Bryant Beyer Scholarship Fund. Recommend acceptance of a donation in the amount of $251 from the citizens of Bradford for the Bryant Beyer Scholarship Fund. Recommend approval of petty cash fund for the food service for the purpose of emergency consumable items in the amount of $50. Recommend approval of petty cash fund for the library for the purpose of the book fair in the amount of $200. Recommend a contract be committed to Hunter Consulting for the third-party administration of the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. Is a continuation of previous affiliation based on competitive quotes. And this is the new fund I was discussing. That is the 035 termination benefits. That's under the authority of 570513, and there is a description therewith.
Thanks, Carla. Do you have a motion to accept the recommendations?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thanks, Frank. Any discussion or questions for Carla over the items we're to approve? Now, roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Brewer.
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. So we have no old business to review. We do have some new business items, consent calendar, items 1 through 11. And Joe, did you have to walk us
Sure.
through and highlight the approval recommendations?
Absolutely. We've got some hires to do for substitute contract for this year for Abby Fike. Subcontract for this year for supplemental contractor this year, Katie Fry after school intervention. Certified 1-year teaching certificate or certified contract for our junior high teacher, Connor Reed. Employment contract, 1-year substitute teaching for next year, and there's the list there. I'm not going to go through everybody there. Letter E would be a 1-year limited teaching contract for those 6 people, Mr. Freeman, Ms. Boland, Mrs. Espich, Mr. Coverman, Mrs. Myring, and Mrs. Schmitz. Reemployment, 5-year teaching contract for Mrs. Fry, Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Newton, Mrs. Roberts, Mrs. Sneed, and Mr. Grillo. A classified 1-year contract for substitute teachers and, substitute custodians, cafeteria, summer help, lawn help, and other classified areas in the next page and a half. Letter H is a supplemental assignment for 1 year for the 23-24 school year for those supplemental positions that I will not go through. Number 2, we're going to designate, well, I'll go through this, staff members. Today's staff members mold our future citizens, encounter students with widely differing backgrounds and abilities, spend endless hours outside of the classrooms preparing engaging lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, and coaching students, provide quality education services for our children. So therefore, our Bradford Exempted Village School District Board of Education should designate the week of May 8th through the 12th, 2023 as Staff Member Appreciation. It further be proclaimed that the Board of Education calls on the community to join in with personally expressing appreciation to our staff members for a job well done. So we will be recognizing our staff members during that week of May 8th through the 12th with a small token of our appreciation and thank them for the huge job that they do. Number 3, we have a agreement with Miami County Sheriff's Department to have Safety Town here from July 17th through the 21st. It'll be open to all community students of that age. Number 4, we have an MOU with Head Start, CORS, for a Head Start program here. Number 5, we have an overnight stay that's recommended for the Ohio FFA convention for our kids to attend on May 4th and 5th. Another overnight stay for the 8th and 9th grade students in November of this coming fall, the 6th through the 9th for the DC trip through K&K. And number 7 is the list of our graduates. Of course, this is pending everything else that's going on, but they are recommended for graduation on May 27th. Congratulations, class of 2023, our 35 students that are listed there. Number 8, we have 5 summer school teachers that we'd like to get on board through grant funds to help our students achieve better results. Number 9, we have an addition to the course of study with a 6th and a 7th grade class for creative exploration. Number 10, we have reimbursement for tuition for Jamie Sink, who completed 2 classes. And number 11, we have a supply chain assistance grant that was given to the school district in the amount of $16,977.02 to help offset supply chain management issues. That is it for the consent.
Thanks, Joe. Do you have a motion to approve the items before us?
So moved.
Thanks, Maria.
Second.
And thanks, Scott. Discussions or questions for Joe regarding all the items?
I do have a question, like for the substitute for Abby Fike, or for anybody without a degree, as far as that goes.
Yes.
So we go through the list of substitutes first?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if no
the
one else
idea-
can do it, we get people without a degree.
That's the idea. It doesn't always happen that way because sometimes a teacher will say, okay, I want to apply for a day off on April 20, whatever. What they're supposed to do is go into kiosk talks to ASAP, who then calls all the subs on the certified list to find if we've got one. Sometimes, especially in a multi-day situation or a day where the kids may know so-and-so, the teacher will call that sub and set it up outside of the ASAP program. Sometimes the teacher will call one of those subs directly as opposed to going through the ASAP and getting a hold of one of the teachers that's certified. So I can't say all the time, but that's the way it's supposed to happen.
Any other questions, clarifications? Thanks. Roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. So item 12 is approving hiring classified personnel, Maggie and Michelle Manuel. We have a motion to approve. I'll move, and Maria second. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call for approval.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Abstain.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next item 13 is approving Bill Trevino for position in halftime varsity assistant football coach. Motion to approve.
Move.
And second?
Second.
It's got a second. Any discussions or questions?
What is a halftime? So you go in there and give a pep talk at halftime?
I like that. No, he's taking the assistant varsity football coach position and splitting it with one other person. So he gets half the salary. I like that idea.
Good question. Always know what you're voting on, right?
Exactly.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call for approval.
Mrs. Brewer,
Abstain.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Would you like me to explain the next?
Yes, probably easier since you know those.
Yep, the next part is part of construction. This is the shoreline contract to install the wiring from the transformer into the bus barn into those the chargers for the bus. Number 15 is a contract with Bensman Welding for metal steps that will go into the press box to replace the specified wood steps that were on the blueprint. We thought this would be a more long-lasting piece and sturdier piece. And the weird part of it is the contract for Flores for the wood steps was going to cost us about $8,000, and we're getting the metal steps for $6,200. That may fluctuate just a little bit because we're still talking about railings and those type of things, but we're going to save money by going with a better product. So very excited about that piece. And then the last part, number 16, is a contract with D&M Fencing for a 6-foot perimeter fence to go around the entire area out here. It will not be completed until the building and everything is done. However, a good part of it will be put up yet within the next couple months. So, and I say it's not going to exceed 63,000. The actual quote we got was 55 ish. But I know we've got some modifications where we moved the long jump pit 5 feet out, so the fence is going to have to jog out around that. So there's a few pieces that are going to be a little different than what the drawings called for that they priced their quote from.
Motion to approve 14, 15, and 16.
So move.
Thanks, Trey. And a second.
Second.
Thanks, Maria. Any discussions or questions further for Joe? None, roll call for approval, please.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. Next item is a motion to enter an executive session for item G1 on your agenda.
So moved.
Thanks, Maria. Any second?
Second.
Thanks, Scott. Roll call for entering executive session.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes. So it's 7:14.
7:14.
Enter executive session, and there'll be no motions or
Congratulations.
actions taken afterwards.
Teacher.
call for adjournment when you're ready.
Mrs. Brewer,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes, we stand adjourned. Everyone have a super evening.
Thank you.
Sorry I missed your first meeting.